Ian, what do you say we just take it from the top?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to this week's episode of Gymwright Live, take 2. I'm your host, Marcus Guerzy, and with us this week, we have the one and only Mr. Ian Berger. Ian's been in the game for a long time. He's what I like to call an industry OG. Been in the game for, as a gym owner, worked with the Grid League, but instead of me butchering your intro, Ian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, and that was an awesome intro. My first affiliate was at 18 years old. I opened it with my family. I've worked with Reebok CrossFit Fifth Ave, Union Square, the holding company called Rhino, and some of their other projects, the Grid League, New York Rhinos, and I'm currently at Ice NYC. And along that time, I've been competing at the highest level of CrossFit. Been to regionals 6 or 7 times and placed 4th with Team Dynamics in 2016. So it's been a hell of a journey.
Right on, man. Well, like I said in the previous take that didn't work, it's an honor to have you on, man. We've run in a lot of the same circles. I know Nate and the guys and Angelo. We've got a lot of crossover, and I've always wanted to get you on and have you share your insight because not a lot of people have the experience and the I guess, and not just experience, but the multidimensional experience that you've had being in this industry at all these different capacities. And today we're going to be talking about like what's happening in the industry right now and some trends that you're seeing. Running your facility out of New York, which I'd love to have you tell us a little bit more about because actually I would love to have everybody hear the model because it's pretty unique. But we want to dig into, what's working, what's happening, and really where you see a lot of this going so that the gym owners watching this can take some of that and hopefully apply it to their model and whatever that model is, right? So would you mind telling us a little bit about what you've got going on with the gym you're working with right now?
Yeah, of course. And I definitely, along the way, have learned a lot and seen the evolution of the affiliates and other gyms and been fortunate to work at the grassroots level and the highest level. New York City is a different beast in comparison to most places. The facility that I'm at right now is called Ice NYC. The owner, his name is Izzy Levy. It is a beautiful facility. The pull-up bars are gold. The equipment is all brand new. There is no penny spared. The bathroom looks like the Ritz-Carlton.
Nice.
We offer CrossFit, HIIT style training, TRX, rowing, mobility, and a cycle class on assault bikes.
Oh, right on. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's always pretty fun when you get your run-of-the-mill ClassPass member coming in and thinking that they're in for some Soul Cycle, and definitely a turn for the worse.
You're like, we're going to do assault bike intervals for an hour. So buckle up.
Pretty much.
It's about to get terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I actually remember having several conversations actually with Nate, one of the guys from Rhino Co., probably about a couple years ago when when he was talking about a concept like this and how kind of sees the direction going of the industry, or at least there being a wide opening for people creating a boutique variation on the CrossFit gym for those who have the income, who want the nicer environment, but love that kind of training. I can definitely see that being having a lot of appeal, especially in a place like New York City or even here with us in Southern California or Miami. I could see that really taking off.
So in New York City, it's a different beast. You have a fitness facility every corner, every block. Like
literally, yeah.
There is so many, and with the creation of ClassPass, people want varieties. They want different instructors. They want different style classes. So the run-of-the-mill gym had to change because just offering CrossFit wasn't enough anymore for New York City. Different locations, it definitely does. But for our demographic and our clients, it's a great way to get them in the door with a HIIT style of training or like high intensity intervals, and then educate them and kind of push them into the CrossFit. Because as all gym owners may know, or coaches, people are a little bit tentative to try CrossFit initially, and you kind of have to lead them to the water and debunk a lot of those myths.
Yep, 100%. Cool. Well, let's dig in here a little bit around really what the meat of the show here for today, which is the changing landscape of fitness and how box owners can help evolve, or how they can evolve and diversify, expanding their clientele, which I think is a large part of what you guys are doing at Ice, right? ICE.
Yeah. So it's really interesting now because the fitness industry is multidimensional. It's not just brick and mortar. You have online programs. You have a lot of fitness influencers, and people are still going to brick and mortar locations. But how are you differentiating yourself? How are you creating leads? It's not just have a storefront and hope that people show up. It's a little bit more than mouth now. And what I see changing is that it needs to be run like a business. In years past, it used to be able to get away with a passion project. Like when I first started my first affiliate, it was me, my mom, my dad, my sister, and I installed the toilet. I coached every single class. I was the business, but I didn't set up the systems at scale at 18 because I didn't have the foresight to realize that if I was my business, that I couldn't get any bigger or take my foot off the pedal. And when I did, obviously that was kind of when things started going a little bit south. 100%. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you have, let's say, 200 members, and they're all interested in fitness. How are you upselling them on other products? You want to be, you built and established a level of trust with them that you're their coach. How are you want to be their go-to for nutrition. You want to be their go-to for a barbell class, Olympic lifting. There are so many things that you could be, and products and services that you could be offering your members besides a CrossFit class, that everyone running a gym needs to be on top of. What more can I offer my clients?
Yep. It looked like my audio slipped for a second there again. Can you guys hear me now? I know this isn't going to sound great, but can you hear me okay? Someone put something in the comments, please. Trying to balance this thing. It's a little tricky with this live business. Let's see if going. Test, test, test. Can you guys hear me? Test, test. Yeah? No? Good times with the technical stuff this morning. I feel like it's my first day.
Crushing it.
Killing it. So, all right, cool. Looks like we're back. Okay. So, all right. So let's jump in here. So a gym owner watching this and hearing all this is going to probably think to themselves, like, first of all, like, how does this apply to me? And, what would be the benefit to me as a gym owner to like explore what we're talking about today? Like, what would be some of the immediate benefits that they could get from doing this?
Well, the immediate one, and probably for most business owners, is just the bottom line. Increasing revenue is just everyone's goal in this business, and also satisfying their clients, right? So besides just making money off your clients, you want them to be happy. You want them to achieve their goals, because that's initially why they walked in the doors. And for most people, that's why you started an affiliate. And to that point, you also want to create opportunities and make this a career for your coaches, right? So how are you going to make more money so you could pay them, and how are you going to incentivize them? It's just a trickle-down effect by offering these new things.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, but what about the gym owner who doesn't want to make money?
I get that. No, it's a funny question, but I totally understand that. So when I first started my affiliate, I mean, the plethora of mistakes that I look back on, I just fell in love with CrossFit. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like I just want to scream this from the rooftops. I want to share it with my community. I just want people to be better. That is my mission. I don't care about the money side of things. Doesn't matter. I just want this to be my playground, and I want to share. I want everyone to feel and experience what CrossFit has done for me. But there's bills, right? Like if you can't make ends meet, that can't exist. So right. You do need to make money. You want new equipment. You want to have the nicest things. You want to have the best services. You need to make money. It doesn't work if you don't. You want to make more of an impact. You need to have visibility. You need a marketing budget. You need a location that's visible. These are all things that money provides. I'm not saying that money should be your main motivator, but it needs to be, you need to be conscious of it because it does help open the doors for other things that you may want to accomplish, whether it's your intrinsic values or just for your community.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, I said that half joking, but the reason why I said it was because a lot of times people, I find they struggle a little bit with the core membership, core business, and monetizing that correctly, or they've painted themselves in a corner where they've got a bunch of people on like old price points and they're struggling with raising prices. And oftentimes this can adding new revenue streams. So let's just say we left that alone for a second, which I don't say you should do necessarily, but you can offset or take the pressure off that so that you can do that better by opening up some of these other opportunities like online programs or some of the different premium services you can offer, and being a little bit more creative around how else you can monetize this business and the services that you have there so that you can offset some of that other stuff. But anyway, so let's jump in here. So let's start with the actionable steps. So where would someone begin if they wanted to start exploring this?
So I look at it this way. You have to look at what you're currently offering and what exists in terms of services, and then get a pulse from your community, right? Like they'll tell you pretty spot on what you need to offer, like whether it's a nutrition challenge, whether it's a barbell class, whether it's an endurance class. Those are really easy ways to start in terms of just getting the ball rolling and just getting your core group of people. And then further down the line is just, what does your intro process look like? How are you creating new leads? Are you touching upon the community around you, like other small businesses, like something so simple like, hey, there's a massage parlor down the block from my gym. Let's trade email lists, and we're going to do a automated email. So my members get a discounted rate and your members get a discounted rate. And just working together to help other small businesses is a great way just to help increase revenue.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, that working with local businesses is an easy one. I'm always surprised with how few people are doing that. They're afraid to go and talk to other like-minded. I mean, even if you just stay within the realm of wellness and you go and you approach, the chiro, massage, even going to the beauty end of the spectrum where you're going to salons and whatnot and saying hey, let's see how we can help each other out. Oftentimes you strike gold in places that you had no idea because maybe the owner's a fitness enthusiast and they help sell it and you really don't know. So always worth exploring. So, okay. So once you've kind of thought about all right, well, what would fit my community? And actually, before I move on, a consideration too is remember too what is it that you can and want to do well, right? So it's not just about picking something out of a hat. Like for example, if I don't know much about nutrition or I'm not that passionate about nutrition, I probably shouldn't try to position myself as the authority on nutrition unless I'm willing to really do some work first. Where I may be really interested in, let's say, body composition and that's my thing. I'm very good at that. So you may explore saying, hey, I'm going to put together a functional bodybuilding program, or you're going to know, because also remember your community came to you and stays with you because they like you, your vibe. They're picking up what you're putting down. So inherently what you're excited about, more often than not, you're going to be able to translate to them because hopefully you have a community of people who are your people. Right? Not just random people you've collected. But yeah, you can do surveys. You could say like, hey, we're thinking about adding some new programs. Here are the three. Which ones appeal most to you? You could do this in person. You could do it on the board. Hey, put a tally under what you think is going to, you're excited about. You can actually get people involved, and oftentimes they'll feel like you're going to get higher participation that way too.
Yeah, and it's also, if you don't feel like you have the knowledge to be a nutritionist, outsources so many challenges and people that exist out there today that you could easily outsource it and just be the authority figure enforcing the challenge, not necessarily creating it.
100%. Yep. Co-host it. And you're basically the assist for the specialist, but because you're with them, it now positions you as somewhat of an authority too. All right. So next step, what do we do now? So we've identified and made sure that the product matches my services and my price points and all that. What do we do next?
Well, I think you focus on your team. What does your coaching staff look like? Are they meeting the standard that you want your gym to promote? And then I think if you could keep your team happy and keep them dedicated to that mission of whatever you see, then your gym will foster. A lot of the times people come in and they're just getting a rate or it's a traded membership for coaching hours and they're not invested, right? And that translates to everyone. And something else that I've seen since I've started is, for some reason, I mean, I know it's not fun, but most gyms give the intros and the foundations classes to their beginner coaches or their novice or least experienced coaches, just because, these are your new members. You want them getting the best version possible or the best coach possible, just so that they walk in the door and then leave having the best experience possible. If someone's getting $15 an hour to coach an intro and maybe commission off of that, they're not going to care. But if it goes to you and your bottom line and you want that member to be part of the community and you want to change their life and you know their goals, then you're going to close that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think that goes to your team, right? Making sure that you have the right coaches on board. And I also think that programming is a big thing now. The community and some of the a long time are more aware of good or bad programming.
Yeah.
The coach has to be bought in and has to be able to explain it.
Yeah. By the way, your audio is good. My audio just took a crap again. Just switched microphones. Can you guys hear me now? This is so cool. Ian, you're a saint.
Oh no, this is, you know what? I'm enjoying myself so far. I'm sorry your audience is getting clunked out, but hope they're enjoying it.
Yeah, well, hey, so far we've got plenty of people watching this. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Test. Good times. Yeah, this is so fun.
No, you're good. It happens. Technology, right?
Technology. Gotta love it. Jeez Louise. All right. So, okay. Back to it. So, we've got, so you said focus on your staff. So we want to have our aces who are doing our intros and whatnot, but what about, what else is there to that?
So I think you have to invest in your staff. I think continuing education, making sure that they're clear on the vision, the mission, and the culture of your gym. Because if you have one person on staff that isn't aligned with that, it's going to ruin the culture. You don't want someone in the middle of class talking to members negatively or poisoning the well. It's just, you're seeing a transition of owners. Owners are not the head coaches anymore. You're starting to see career coaches, but there needs to be a trajectory and growth pattern that they could continue to grow. Because if it's just, all right, I'm the head coach and I could just stand up in front of the board and say, here's your warm up, here's your skill, here's your strength, here's the workout, 3, 2, 1, go. That's not enough. And also, it's really important to make sure that they want to grow the community as much as you do and not just care about that wage, which is, in any job, it's difficult, but as an owner, you need to make sure that you're dialed in with what they want to achieve, but outside of just a payroll, and help them accomplish that.
Yeah, no doubt. That's we actually talked about this with Jason Fernandez a few weeks back in some of the coach development episodes that we did. Shout out to Jason. Dropped some knowledge on that one. But that, here I'm going to call something that is going to you're going to start seeing in the next year on this subject. And that's a lot of these gym owners who are switching to being the gym owner and creating career coaches. Those of you who are not creating that clear path, that vision where someone is going to make a career with you, as in they see a path of, this, I'm going to develop here. I'm going to continue to become a better coach. This is a career at this gym for me. Those who are not investing in that and focusing on that, those career coaches, while you're kicking your feet up thinking like, oh, great, I'm out of the loop, like I don't have to deal with this. Those career coaches are going to open up the gym down the street. Yep. Those are going to become your biggest problem if you don't take care of them and if you don't have a great relationship based on good communication about, you casting a vision and making them a part of that so that they can see the future with you in it. Not that they're like, man, I'm just working my tail off while Marcus is kicking his feet up over there. Like, I could do this on my own and keep all the money for myself. So yeah. I'm just going to say it right now. But yes, that's exactly what we're seeing, is that gym owners are starting to.
Yeah, no, I've seen it happen over and over again. And something totally a little bit of a sidebar. What you're starting to see too is social currency, right? And I don't know if I'll kind of define that as, in fitness, social currency is when someone experiences your gym or comes to your facility or does a workout with you, they want to share it. And it's the topic of their discussion at dinner, or you are doing something different or creating an experience for that person that they have to share because it's so cool. And in New York, and I'm sure you see that people are going to facilities and they want to share their fitness experience with friends. There's no longer golf outings or bar meetings. People are having business meetings by going to out together. The landscape is changing to a health conscious state, and you just got to make sure that your facility is somewhere where people want to take pictures. Mm-hmm. There's something that's going to have your logo and branding in it, so when they do take the picture, they know where it is. There's geotags. You have a Snapchat filter. Your Instagram is on point. These are all little things that every gym owner needs to start paying attention, because if your social media game is not strong, then most people are probably not paying attention to what you're doing.
No doubt. All right. So we've dialed in what our product service is. The prices are on point. We've got our staff bought in. Now, what's the next step?
Like I said, I think social currency, and how do you and social media crucial. Have to pay attention and make sure that their message is concise and consistent. Mm-hmm. Also, I mean, this is a simple one, but make sure your facility is matching your price point. Nobody wants, as Greg Glassman said in the early days, make sure your bathroom is pristine. You should be able to lick the floors. Nobody wants to be paying $300 a month when their bathrooms are disgusting. You could have the best CrossFit program in the world, but if your facilities are so disgusting that people don't want to do burpees on the floor, then it matters. I'm jumping around a lot, but you kind of just sparked something in my experience, and this kind of has to go with facility, I guess you could say, and staff. Your front desk person or whoever is the first needs to be amazing, needs to be the most generous, awesome person, because I've been to too many gyms where I'm like, I walk in and the front desk person, like, I feel like they're upset to see me instead of like actually helping.
Annoyed. Yeah, they're annoyed that you just walked in and interrupted them as they're flipping through a magazine or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like, I guess because most of those people probably are not paid the highest hourly wage, they don't care, and it's like that's your first point of contact. If you walk in the gym a cold lead, that could easily just coming back.
Yeah. 100%. We had a policy at my gym at Active where when someone would walk in, if you were at the front desk, you would stop what you're doing, stand up, you make eye contact, smile, and move towards them. Either you reach towards them and shake their hand if they're already there, or you walk around from behind it. But make sure that they feel like you're excited to see them. Like you should make them feel like you've been waiting all day to see them. Like, oh, hey, so glad you're here. That's the vibe we should be having, or they should be having as they walk into your gym. Like we don't want to make them feel like, oh, I'm so sorry to interrupt, which I've seen coaches do. I had a coach one time who, I see someone walk in and they're sitting behind the desk and he's eating his lunch, and the person walks in, they're like, hey, so sorry to bother you. And he's just like, it's okay, I'm just eating my lunch, and keeps eating his lunch. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, first of all, what the hell are you doing eating at the front desk? And second, like, stand up and say, hey, so sorry, I didn't see you come in. Such a pleasure to meet you. My name's so-and-so. So
yeah, I know I get it because I've been on both sides, and I've definitely grown as a person. And unfortunately, during the time when I was an affiliate owner, I was more focused on the athletic side of things. So I was definitely guilty of that. Like if someone walked in when I was in the middle of a workout, I'd be like, go to the website. It's like, and just not stop my workout. And I look back at it and I'm like, oh my God, I cringe. Yeah. It's just one of these things where it was such poor conduct, and obviously the focus wasn't new members. It was more on my own fitness and just keeping what I had than growing.
Right. You were acting more like a member rather than a business owner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So what's next? Anything else you want to mention about this?
So, I mean, I would like to touch upon wearables and technology. I don't know how much most of your listeners are going to be integrating that into their facilities, but I think it's the wave of the fitness future, and
I agree.
And I think that facilities like I know NeoU and a few other facilities in New York are starting to integrate them. And when to the basic model of CrossFit of measurable, observable, repeatable, when you could add another measurement to that besides like distance, load, or time, people are going to eat it up. And also it has to be interactive. When it's interactive and you can make it gamified, as we've seen in CrossFit, it's going to be successful. How to integrate that is going to be on each facility. I've seen heart rate in a lot of the facilities that I've attended. It's pretty cool. Unique programming and different styles based on heart rate or HRV. Some facilities give you an HRV device, which is a heart rate variability device, just to make sure that you're dialed in and their athletes are getting the most out of their training. And besides just going based off field, they have some science behind it.
Yeah, it's a novelty, or it may seem like a novelty right now to a lot of people who are like, oh, it's this gimmicky stuff with, like at Orange Theory, how they put your heart rate is actually like being displayed, or like how you're performing and stay in the red or stay in the orange or whatever. But I'm going to say it right now. I agree with you completely. I think this is exactly where this is going to go for people. So starting to experiment with this stuff now and the different tools that are out there, it not only gives you something unique and a differentiator, but it is, you're starting to play with what is going to become, I think, a standard component to training in very short order. I'm willing to bet in the next 2 years, 3 years, this will be the norm, and you will be the odd man or woman out who, if you don't have some form of technology participating in what you're doing. And again, it's to each their own, but start looking into, what things appeal or apply to you and your situation where you can, do something of value, but also tap into people's curiosity around this stuff and the appeal, that novelty factor, because it is new, where, even if you are, let's say, doing like a more standard CrossFit style deal, like just integrating like some HRV stuff and saying, hey, today we're doing like, for example, like we want to stay within this range, right? This is the intent of the workout today. This is what we're looking to accomplish. So while we're doing, the Metcon piece, I want you to be trying to stay in this particular realm. Like we used to do, RPE, relative perceived exertion percentages on the board, but that's very relative. It's like, but if we can actually now start putting data to that using some of these tools, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And I guess the last topic that I would bring up for any brick and mortar location is just how do you monetize the hours that are not operational? So most of us are like early morning, lunchtime, and then PM. You have a space that's not being used for like 6 hours of the day.
Yep.
How are you monetizing that? And what I've seen is that people are bringing outside fitness instructors, whether it's a different style class or small group training. They're bringing in new people and offering this to their existing members just so that the facility could constantly be making money and there's no real off hours.
We can try to open this up here to some Q&A. Let's see here if we've got, I hope people can hear me. My audio keeps cutting in and out. So sorry guys for those of you watching this. But Ian can answer your questions. So let's see here. So let's fly in the first question here from Brittany. Give me a moment here. Pop this little gem in here. So Brittany said, how do you overcome current members not wanting to pay extra for these things on top of their memberships? So go ahead.
So what I would suggest and what I've seen is that you have to show them the value and not cave into giving them it for free. If you say, all right, well, I'm just going to do it for them, and then the next time I'm going to charge, then it's going to become the standard. If you say it's going to be outside of business hours, it's only open to a select few, make the spots limited, then your members, make it a premium. Make it so that it's a rare thing and not just like, all right, it's $100 and it's open to everyone. I'm taking 20 people on for a nutrition challenge. It's starting this time, off hours, and yeah, I think the best way to do that is make it a small group and make it really hard to get into and create demand.
Yeah, it's a matter of you need the exclusivity factor, and I think also too, exclusivity comes from not just saying, hey, I'm only going to take 20 people, but make it have a finite end. I think people, because we are in the recurring revenue model, where people are like, well, I want to sell memberships, and ideally I'd like to raise my average client value for these people forever.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of that impact, that exclusivity, by it just always being available. So instead, say, you know what, we're going to do this, let's say this nutrition program, I'm only taking 20 people on who are really serious about getting results. We're going to be doing this in our off time. It's only for this. We're only going to do this one time as of now. If it's a hit, we may do it again in the future, but no promises. If you want to do this, you really want to dial in your training, apply. Have people apply too, by the way. Don't just say, just grab it. Say, if you're interested, apply, and we can see if it's a good fit. That's another good way, Brittany, to help people feel like, oh, this is like a thing. Like I've got to get qualified for it.
I've also seen, Brittany, that I'm definitely one of those people that I feel bad when someone comes up to me after class and they're like, hey, I've been having a really hard time with nutrition. Can you give me some advice? And I'll usually cave in and give it to them. But what that's doing by giving it to them for free is basically diminishing your value of whatever you want to upsell them on. Say no and say it often. Just be like, hey, I'm doing this eventually, and if you're interested, it'll be available. And something that I've seen really successful is if you're constantly coaching every single class, nobody's going to want to take another class with you because their regular membership gets access to you all the time. If you are the premium service and you are in demand, then people are going to want to work with you if you offer something outside of that.
Yeah, very good point, right? If you're the head coach, you want to kind of separate yourself, make you access to you a little bit more exclusive because you're only doing so many classes. Very good point.
Yep.
And Brittany actually added a little bit more here to this, where she said we've tried doing small group, but everyone was like, as long as it's not on top of my membership. So yeah, this is a really common challenge, and it's unfortunately, Brittany, you've probably conditioned a lot of your members to like feel this way because you did just give everything away. However, here's an easy way to transition is something I call the 3-minute rule. So you tell all of your coaches after class, you seek someone out where you're going to give them 3 minutes of focused help. And you say, okay, like for example, you have a workout where you're doing double unders. You see one of the corners just tripping. And after class, you walk up and you just say, hey, Marcus, you have a couple minutes to stick around real quick? I want to help you with those double unders. Come on over. Spend 3 minutes, coach them on it, and at the end of the 3 minutes, you're like, hey, I got to wrap it up, or I've got another class, or whatever the deal is, and then say, but if you want to work on that some more, why don't we set up a performance consultation, which, by the way, you have to have a sales event for whatever this upsell is. But in most cases, we teach the performance consult, which is a one-on-one for members to upsell to whatever the premium program is. And now you can say, okay, cool. Well, if you're interested, we can get you rock and rolling on those double unders in a few sessions. Set up a performance consult with me, and we can figure out exactly how I can help you get there. Or you want to work on that only? Like, I'll help you for 3 minutes. I'm going to give you some gold, and then set up a performance consult. Let's see, I can get you on a custom only program or whatever it is that you have to upsell. Make this an opportunity to address it and to approach people and give them the chance to say, oh, I am interested. Now they're coming to you to actually have the sales conversation correctly. And that oftentimes for the people who are conditioned, it'll take a moment, but I like to also let me put it this way. I like to cherry pick. Because I experienced this with my gym years ago where we first introduced individual programming and I wanted to upsell. A lot of the people were like, well, you were just helping us before. And so I put this mechanism in place for the 3-minute rule for the performance consultation. However, what we also started doing, Brittany, was we started in our featured member, we would actually every other month or every few months, we would then single out someone who was on that program and tell their story about, hey, Kyra has been with us for a year and a half and was doing great with her training, and she identified she wanted to enter her first CrossFit competition. So she set up a performance consult with Coach Scott. They sat down, they figured out her game plan, and 3 months later, she not only did her first comp, but she podiumed. Like, hats off to Kyra. And all the other members were starting to see, like, well, wait a minute. Like, I did on-ramp with Kyra, and like, you're right, she's looking like extra jacked these days, or whatever. And like, I want that. And they start to see the gap between just like, well, I want to do what that person has what I want. So like body comp is a really easy way. Like get people on custom programs or into these nutrition challenges where then they all of a sudden look way better than everybody else. And people are like, well, I've been doing this as long as he has or longer than she has, and I don't have that. So you just kind of start showcasing it in front of them, and then you keep reminding about like, hey, next time we do it, make sure you apply. And people get FOMO.
I had the same results. I had the same results as you, Marcus. I did a barbell club, and during the open, everyone in barbell club PR'd their clean. It just so happened to be the perfect example of why to sign up for a barbell club. So use your members as highlights of why the other members should use you is a great piece of advice.
Yeah, right on. Cool. Let's see if we got any more questions here. Actually, as a matter of fact, Brittany's firing them off here. Brittany always asks great questions whenever she's on with us. So let's see what she's got here. It says, also, do you think it's a good idea for a studio who may want to scale to other locations to add in things during off hours if you don't want to do that at location 2 or 3 and so on, if you want your model to be replicated? Do you want to take it?
Sure. I think the closest you could get to standard procedure at all places makes it easier for you, right? So and that even goes down to something like community. You want the feel, the look of your facilities to be pretty standard, and whoever goes to any of your facilities should be getting the same product and the same service, no matter which location it is. I think some of the downfalls of different affiliates, or I guess I'll use affiliates, is that just because we all have the same name of CrossFit, people tend to think it's a franchise, and having a bad experience at one will deter them from ever walking in the door of another one. So be cautious of, hold the standard for every single one at the same. I'd keep it, what works, you keep to, and what doesn't work, don't just remember at one location you're going to feel like an ugly stepchild if you do it for them and not another.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whatever's working at location one, the whole game, the multi-location, is leveraging the proven system, not reinventing the wheel for the individual locations. Sure, there will be some nuances that change, but I agree completely. That said, because of your experience, though, from location one, you may have also learned that certain things, like maybe the premium service program or something like that, may not be ideal to roll out right away, but you can always kind of dangle the carrot and be like, hey, we're going to be, rolling these and these things out, because you already know that that's where you're going. So a little bit of like vision casting for even members and staff at these other locations, because you're like, look, we're doing all this at this location. As we're ramping things up, we're going to do this and this and this and this, can work out for you, so that you can make sure you're not putting the cart before the horse on anything either. So Brittany, hope that helps. And as she says, also, side note, my business partner and I could pick your brain for hours. You guys have dropped a ton of knowledge, and I know both of our brains are spinning. So awesome. Thanks for the feedback, Brittany. Cool. Well, if you have any more questions here while we're live, if you're still sticking it out with us, please put them in the comments. And if you're catching this after the live airing and you've made it this far, if you have questions, just go ahead and put them into the comments below and tag Ian or myself, and we're happy to answer them for you. But I think we can go ahead and wrap it up for today. Ian, I think we're coming up on an hour here with a few technical issues. So where can people find more about you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Ian_Berger15 or at the Indoor Podcast on Instagram. I have a blog, indoor.blog. Those are probably the two most, the places where I spend most of my time. So find me there, and thanks so much for having me, Marcus. That was a lot of fun.
Man, it was a pleasure having you on. Thanks again for all your patience with the live technical feed issues, but it was awesome having you on. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And for those of you watching the show, Ian is a man with a lot of really valuable things to say, as you've learned already thus far. So make sure you check out the Endure podcast. Lots of great content coming out of there. Follow the man. He's got a lot to contribute. And thank you for everything that you do in this industry, man.
Thank you, and thank you so much for the kind words. And I wish you were around when I first started my affiliate, so I could have avoided some of the mistakes. What you're doing for the community is awesome. Keep up the awesome work.
Thanks so much, man. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us this week. In case you aren't already, make sure you follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, and definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel gets all these videos posted after the fact. And they've had a chance to go through editing and be cleaned up so that we can chop out some of this funky stuff from the live. But anyway, thank you for joining us. We'll see you again, same place, same time next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.